My name is Ericka Ison. My TAFE ID number is 476179868. My photo ID is here. Read that there. This recording will be used for the purpose of my education and training only and will be used, viewed and stored per TAFE Queensland's privacy policy, which is available on the TQ website and only accessed by TAFE Queensland staff. Do you both provide your consent to be recorded in this activity and for TAFE Queensland to use this recording for education and training purposes?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Hello to the both of you. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining today. I am just going to start our minute taker, which is Otter AI. I'm just going to turn that on now. So that's now taking our meeting minutes. So thank you for joining. The purpose of the meeting today is to review the scope management challenges identified during the Righteous Bean renovation project and discuss two key recommendations to enhance the management of future projects. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, and I would like to pay my respects to the elders past and present. I just want to start out with defining my authority. So as you both know, I am the project manager, so I will be responsible for overseeing the project execution, ensuring that it adheres to timelines, budget and quality standards set out in the project scope, as well as ensuring that all stakeholders are informed and engaged throughout the process. The objectives of today's meeting I've got up here: discuss scope management challenges in the renovation project, present strategies to improve future project outcomes, and gather stakeholder feedback to finalise these recommendations. One of the other really important, slightly boring, but also important parts of a project is making sure that the information included on any documentation is stored securely and safely. So you both would have received the Righteous Bean file storage and security policy and procedure document in your pre-reading pack. And this outlines what's required to keep documentation confidential. So you'll both be receiving documentation that has confidential information on it. These will all be dispersed to stakeholders on a need-to-know basis in an attempt to minimise a confidentiality breach. You did get that in your pre-reading pack, and it is also stored in the Righteous Bean storage cloud. So if you do need to access that, if you need a copy of it, also let me know. So issue one, I'm just going to be talking about two issues today and some recommendations on how to mitigate those issues. First one is inaccurate cost estimation leading to budget constraints later in the project. So some examples of this could be underestimating material costs. So if in the initial budgeting, we assumed that the flooring materials would cost $50 per square metre, but due to any sales ending or market fluctuations, the cost could end up going up to $75 per square metre. So that's going to force cuts in other areas or require additional funding to be approved from the project sponsor. Another example of this might be labour costs overlooked. So when it comes to any unexpected complexities arising, we might have to obtain additional skilled workers to complete these tasks. If there's a specific plumbing issue that we need to get a specialist in for, those sorts of things. They're not in the initial budget, and being last minute, those labour costs might be higher than assumed if we need them in there on a short time frame. The recommendations that I've got up here to mitigate those is conduct really thorough market research to obtain realistic pricing for materials, labour and equipment, to consult with the experts, so talking to the contractors, talking to our suppliers and getting detailed cost breakdowns before finalising the budget, and including a contingency reserve, which is typically 10 to 15% of the total budget set for that project, but obviously that will be individual to each project. And that's to cover unexpected costs. The benefit of doing these is ensuring that the budget allocated gets adhered to, reducing any risks of overspending or financial strain, and prevents delays caused by unforeseen expenses by having that contingency fund in there as a safety net. Do either of you have any questions on issue one?
I do.
Yeah.
How do inaccurate cost estimates typically affect project deadlines?
Yeah, good question. So we obviously just talked about the effect that it has on the budget. So inaccurate cost estimations may prevent us from procuring materials or equipment on time, and that's going to result in a domino effect. So once you have that one delay, that will then delay all those other tasks that are reliant on that initial task. So by the time you get to the end of your timeline, all of those are going to push out past your timeline. The other side of that is where you're compensating for that cost overrun. Some of the teams might be forced to cut corners to adhere to that timeline. So for example, in the staff room renovation, one of the key points in that is to get a flooring that's durable for 10 years. if we're trying to cut costs somewhere and that's the part of the project that has that cost cut, if we're putting in something else that isn't going to be durable for 10 years because that's what we can get on a quicker to adhere to that timeline, that's not going to really reach that goal. And it's also not going to align with our goals within the strategic plan of the Righteous Beam. So that's how that can affect that. And I really do think that these recommendations will eliminate and minimize those significantly. Issue number 2, delays in project completion due to procurement issues or labour shortages. So an example of this would be an incorrect order arrives with the wrong flooring, so we would need to get the correct flooring shipped out to us and the old flooring picked up. This is obviously going to add some time, a couple of days for those shipping issues to be fixed. Another example of this would be if we had a key contractor, like the main electrician that was coming in to in the staff room renovation, cut all the electricity to all the appliances so that they can take them out and put them back in with the carpenter. If they're supposed to be there on Monday, but they hurt themselves over the weekend, so they're last minute not available, those sorts of things are really going to affect the timeline of the project. So the recommendations that I've got here to put in place is to pre-order materials where applicable well in advance and confirm availability with suppliers before finalising the project timeline. Obtain quotes and confirm availability with multiple suppliers to reduce dependency on a single supplier or contractor. And then also build a buffer time into the project schedule to accommodate any unexpected procurement or labour challenges like that flooring that I just mentioned earlier. And obviously the really big benefit of this is we're going to be really adaptable to any really quick adjustments, any challenges that come. We're going to be as adaptable as we possibly can be within the project. Any questions on issue 2?
Hi, Erica. I have a question. You mentioned the getting multiple quotes from multiple suppliers. Would we also look at getting like alternative suppliers lined up just in case there are any shortages or unavailabilities for the suppliers that we are getting our supplies from?
Yeah, 100%. So with the staff room renovation, we're going to get multiple quotes, multiple suppliers as a minimum requirement for all vendors. And that's not only to ensure that we're getting quoted a really fair market price, but to ensure that other suppliers have the goods in stock or at least readily available and are a similar price to what we had outlined in the budget. So if we do have to go with one of those backup suppliers, we know that the budget's not going to get blown out too much and that we can keep that contingency fund for the big issues. Definitely.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Oh, good. This next slide, I want to touch on the alignment to the Righteous Beam strategic plan and how these points really fit in with that. The first one I've got there is alignment with the financial sustainability. So consulting with experts before finalising the budget really helps build financial reserves by reducing unexpected expenses. This is going to maintain financial sustainability through good stewardship and conservative financial planning. Second one I've got down there, alignment with organisational effectiveness. By implementing better cost estimation practices, this supports continuous improvement by reducing inefficiencies in project budgeting and execution, aligning with the goal of promoting a culture of continuous improvement. So the big benefit in our future projects, sticking with these, is by following these recommendations, future projects will be financially stable and less prone to budget overruns, aligning with the company's commitment to sustainable growth and effective financial management. Again, that strategic plan, I did send that out in your meeting email, so you do have that for reference there, just with those objective points that I've pointed out. Key takeaways. So by implementing the strategies outlined in this presentation, we ensure better financial management, improved efficiency, and smoother project execution, aligning with the company's commitment to sustainable growth, which obviously is always a really key point when we're making these decisions. Do you have any other questions at all today?
No, I think I've asked all mine, but if I come up with anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Perfect.
No, I think I'm good. I think you've answered really well.
Amazing. Perfect. I've got our source information here. So there was a few documents that I referenced throughout this presentation. You did get sent them in your meeting email. I've just got outlined here the name of the source, what information they hold, and where you can actually access that. So if you do want to go back and have a look through those, you do have this presentation in those documents as well. So you can go back to this slide and reference this. Otherwise, I think we're pretty much finished on time, which is great. If you have any other questions, feel free to email them through. I will send out a meeting minutes to you both in the next few days, and we will chat in the next meeting.
Great. Thanks, Erica.
Thanks.
Welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.